Hello there, it's Crafty Aunt T. Today I'm doing something way different. In addition to being on this side of the camera, I've been making some of the coronavirus masks, and I decided that I would make a video for beginners to make the mask that works for doctors and nurses. I started making it over at the table, and you'll see some of the video over there, and then I realized that beginners need a lot more instruction. We kind of speak a special language when we sew, and I use that term really loosely when I say we, because I just barely belong to the club. I'm just a person who likes to sew. I'm not a seamstress. There's a lot of videos out there right now, and more going up every minute, so if you see one that tells you a better way to do it, by all means pay attention, but I'm going to try to help you through this. To buy supplies for this project, you can use you can do several. I did 4 or 5. I think I got 4. Yeah, I got 4 out of 2 fat quarters. And so what I bought was I bought the package of interfacing. I don't know why I can't say that word, interfacing. It escapes me. I bought the package of interfacing, but I bought coordinating fat quarters. I just yanked them off the shelf at Joann. It's the shelf right in front of where the quilts are. It's kind of sticks out in the middle. And then they were either $2.88 or $3.88, and then you get your 40% off, and then the girl found me another coupon, and so it was really inexpensive to buy the supplies for this project. The ones with the folds, I'm being told that those are going to be for like people who are coming to the hospital to visit, or people who are coming in and think that they might have the virus. Those are kind of more of a disposable mask. This one with the liner that we're putting in it is more of one that can be washed and reused by medical professionals. So I was just looking at a list. There are hundreds needed in Florida alone. I'm in Florida, and I haven't even called my doctor's office yet to see if they need some. So anyway, we need to get to work, girls and boys, because I know a lot of people are saying this doesn't do any good. In fact, I didn't start making them right away because when I said it, someone said, those don't do a bit of good. Well, let's use common sense. Some barrier between me and you, if you have coronavirus, is going to help me a little, right? A surgical mask has 96% efficacy. A vacuum cleaner bag, for comparison, is 94%. And I think a piece of cotton fabric is like 40. So here we have 2 pieces of cotton fabric, and we have that's important, because if you use a non-woven fabric, it's going to prevent moisture. Like when someone sneezes, for example, that moisture isn't going to get through that barrier to your face. So I don't know what percent efficacy we have here, but it's a good one. So I'm willing to put some time and effort into making these and try to help people out. Are you? If you're interested, there was a study done about these, not about these in particular. This is a several years old study, but it was a study done on how various fabrics protected or kept out a virus, and they did a bacteriophage called MS2. This is a study out of Cambridge. I'll try to get the link for you. They used different things like t-shirts, scarves, and different things around the house, a towel, and they tried to see what percentage of that bacteriophage could get through. It would be a very similar thing to the coronavirus. Hey guys, so everybody's making these face masks about the coronavirus, and I think they not only protect you from other people, they protect other people from any germs you might carry. I think they're really important right now. And so the pattern I'm going to use today is Sweet Red Poppy. There's no reason, for me to reinvent the wheel. Just visit Sweet Red Poppy and download this free pattern. and you'll see a little square, and inside the square it says 1 inch. You want to take that and measure it and be sure that you printed an inch. If you set your printer settings on 100%, it should work just fine. So do that, then cut out your pattern, not with your sewing scissors, but with a regular pair of scissors. When you get your pattern, you may notice there's an arrow here, and what that means is that is supposed to be parallel to the selvage, the white line that runs along the edge of your fabric. This is supposed to be with the grain line, and the grain line runs parallel to the selvage. I always forget which is which, and I have to look it up. They're the same, the grain, the selvage. That's the direction you go. There is another grain line. I'm not going to confuse you with that today, never mind. So you're supposed to lay your pattern with this line going along the selvage direction. However, I would say we are not making something for keeps. We're making something that's going to be washed 10 or 20 times and probably thrown away, to be honest. So I would say don't worry about it too much. Try to get it the way that it should go, and if you can get a fifth one out of a fat quarter by turning it some other way, go ahead. We're using cotton. It's not going to be that big of a deal. You can tell I don't sew too much. Not a seamstress. She's very clear about how to do it, but in addition to the main part and the lining, you need one more thing, and mine is a pellon. There are lots of pellons that work as the liner, and what this is going to do is actually provide a barrier. This is so that doctors and nurses can wear this safely. It's also going to be shaped, because of the way she made her pattern, this one is shaped to go over an N95, so this is a really good pattern to use. This one is the 910. The 911, I think it's 911FF, that also works. You want a good sturdy one, and you want one that when you pour water on it, it resists the water. That's how you know it's a non-woven, and it will say that. If you get it in a package, it will say non-woven. You may have to look it up if you're getting it off the bolt. Where is it? Yeah, non-woven backing. So that's what you want to use. And in addition to cutting your front, which these are my front pieces, and your liner, you want to cut 2 of the interfacing. We're going to call this our interfacing, even if you're using, there's another product you can use. It's these bags. You know how you get these bags from everywhere? And this fabric is something else. You could just cut up a bunch of these bags and use that. I think I recently, of course, threw mine away. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to have 6 pieces when you cut it out. You've got to choose one of the sides, which I just sort of randomly chose my lining piece, and go ahead and put your interfacing piece right with that one and stitch it together, so that when you fold this one out, it's got the right sides together of 2 of your strips, 2 of your pattern pieces, and then cover that up with your interfacing. Okay, so you've got interfacing on the outside, and you've got your liner piece on the inside. Stitch that together on the curved side. Do the same thing. Turn the right sides together of your front fabric and stitch that together on the curved side. So let's go do that now, and then I'll come back and we will do the next part. And for those of you who are new to this, when you sew it, you want just set it on a medium tension and a regular straight stitch. And I stitched mine 1/4 of an inch from the edge, which is about, for me, if my needle is in the center of the presser foot, this is the inner edge of my presser foot. That's where my 1/4 inch mark is. So it makes it pretty easy since you're on a curve. Okay, so I'm back and I've stitched my pieces together. Here's my lining with the interfacing stitched together, and you see it's going to go like this. And you can press it if you want to. I'm going to wait until the very end to press mine out with the iron. Here's my other piece. You want to now take some scissors and cut out some of that bulk. You cut into toward the seam, but not in the seam, of course, because you'll tear it up if you do that. So cut a few notches. The next thing you want is some wire. It says that floral wire is fine. Floral wire that I have is 26 gauge. That's awfully light, but the other gauge I have is about 10 gauge, and that's probably too much to be on a nose. So I'm going to try this one. And it says, there's quite a range here. It says 1 to 8 inches. So I'm going to fit this over my nose and try it. And to come out about the center of my pupils on both sides is that much, which is 4 inches. And then you want some extra because you're going to bend the end back over. So I'm going to come out to, I guess I'm going to cut mine 5 inches. Now you can use scissors if your floral wire is this light of a gauge, but don't do it. You're going to ruin your scissors. So these are my wire snips. And I'm going to do I'm just going to bend the edge back like that. You're just going to put it inwards so that it doesn't poke anyone. And go ahead and try to straighten it out. At this point, you'll curve it later, but straighten it out. Now, that goes across the nose, and I feel like we want to sew that on before. In fact, let's use this thinner one. Let's sew that on before we assemble this. So, now I have to figure out what's the top. The top is the one with the curved edge. So this is the top. This is where your nose piece goes. And you just want to sew it right along here. Okay, right in the middle. Oh, sorry. There you go. So, I'll go away and sew that. You want to do a zigzag stitch. If your machine has a setting where you can widen your stitch, that's what you want to do, just to keep from hitting the wire with your needle. It probably would break your needle. And I'll be right back. So I've stitched my my wire on with my zigzag stitch, and there's only one more step. I went ahead while I was off camera. I pinned these together. Now you want to make sure the more rounded and is that concave, you want to make sure that they're the same. You want to make sure you've got the top to the top and the bottom to the bottom. And there's one more thing. You can either use elastic or bias cut fabric. You can buy bias tape. It's called bias tape. It's just in a little package if you want to use that. I had a 10-inch piece of elastic laying around. This is 1/4 inch elastic, and I went and looked, and it says elastic 2 to 5. So I've just cut that in half. Although I do think maybe people's ears would get tired of having, mine would get real tired of the elastic. So I am going to make some of these with the bias tape. And in fact, I'm going to make some bias strips out of this fabric. Anyway, what you want to do with these, okay, I've told you wrong, and through the magic of video, I got to make a mistake in front of the whole world. When you put the elastic on, you want the elastic to stick inside so that when you flip it, when you turn it inside out, the elastic is sticking out. So I caught that as soon as I sewed this first little edge, and I went all the way around. So I just didn't, I fixed the other one, and I just didn't finish this one. So I've loosened it up now, and what you want to do is take your elastic, and again, be sure that the ends are not twisted. You want it to be one loop with no extra twists, and you want to pin it in like this so that it's, you know, since I've already got a 1/4 inch, it can go kind of close to my stitching on each end. So just make sure that it doesn't get away from you there, and fasten that down. Here we go. There's the one, and here's the other. Now you know that I'm not a seamstress. I'm just a person who likes to sew. So I'm just going to go stitch those back on, and then I'll be able to flip it inside out through the space in between them. Don't forget to stitch 2 or 3 times. I went forward, back, forward over each end to be sure that it stays secure. Now that you've got it turned right side out, check and make sure everything is in the right place. Your wire is still in the center at the top. The elastic, we saved that. Now I turned mine through this hole, so I'm going to fold these edges down in, and then I'm going to go and take it to your iron and just press the heck out of it. You really want to make these seams flat before you top stitch, and I think you're going to have to top stitch on this model, because if you don't, there's too much looseness in there. So when you top stitch, or even if you cheat and you don't top stitch, what you'll do is stitch this edge closed. Okay, at least do that. You have to do that. And then if you continue on about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge and sew all the way around the outer edge, then you'll have the whole thing nicely finished. And then I strongly advise that you take this and put it on and wear it. Don't make 100, make 1. And put it on and wear it for a while, and make sure that you like the shape and it's comfortable. I see this on me would look like a piggy nose. It sticks out really far from my face. So I'm not sure what's up with that. It could be the way I sewed it together, but I don't really think it is. Yeah, I think it exactly matches the pattern. So anyway, let's iron it and stitch it, and then we'll see. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I cut in here, and I iron in another room, and I sew in another room. So it's a lot of running around. I'll be right back. Now, she has said on this pattern, Sweet Red Poppy, you get a choice of making the elastic bands to go over your ears, or making the bias tape. And sorry, my parrot always wants to talk louder than me. So I made one with elastic. This happens when I get in front of the camera. I can't talk. I made one with the elastic, and frankly, I found it really uncomfortable. So I decided to make, because it's me and I do everything the complicated way, I decided to do, instead of bias tape, to make my own bias tape. Now, I'm not going to try to tell you how you can do that. Basically, if your grain is one way and your selvage is the other way, the bias is the triangle way. So you would fold your fabric down into a triangle and then follow that line, the fold line, to cut your fabric. And what I did was, see, I wasn't going to tell you how to do it, now I'm telling you. What I did was, yeah, it's funny. She said, for the elastic, she said 2 to 5 inches, and I cut mine 5, and then, of course, there's a little over a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so like a 1/2 inch, so they're 4.5. That seemed perfect to me. But the bias tape says 4 to 12 inches. Maybe it's my hair, but I need the whole 12 inches on that. So when I got these done, I cut them into 12-inch strips. And then I'm just, here's one that's right side out, I'm just tying a knot in one end. That's going to be the, the good end. And then this other end will be inside your mask. So here's what we're going to do. The next thing you want to do is take your sewn pieces and put them again right sides together, and you want to be sure that you have the top up. You want to have the same, you want it to go the same way. You want the top to the top and the bottom to the bottom. So I'm going to do this. I didn't bring my pins in here, but you get the idea. You want to pin it together there, And now, here's the tricky part. You want your ribbons, make sure they're turned right side out. You want to put them inside and just about a finger's width away from the edge. I'll tell you why. They're telling me that they feel a lot better and they fit a lot better if the strap is not all the way up at the edge. And anyway, you're sewing a seam there. So bring it in about a finger width and pin it. And do the same at the bottom. Now I'm dropping everything. Bring it in about a finger width and pin it there. So that's going to look like this. Then over the top of that, you're pinning the other piece. So you've got your straps enclosed inside the two matching pieces. I used 26 gauge floral wire for mine, and it's okay, it's fine, nothing to write home about. I sure wouldn't want anything bigger in there. And somebody was cutting out some pieces of plastic pans. I think I don't want anything that wide over my nose. I already have glasses on my nose. So I'm going to stick with the floral wire for now, and I'm going to try to get some feedback from the doctor's office tomorrow when I take them over there and see what they have to say about them. That's it for now. I'm Crafty Aunt T. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe below.